Hello. Good morning, ma'am.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Can hear you.
Can hear you.
we are quite few in the room. I don't know if we can wait for another 5 minutes or what do you think?
It's okay. It's fine.
Yes, it's fine.
Yes, can we wait for 5 minutes or should we kick off? This is like we're few in the room.
Let's wait. Let's say maybe 8 or 10 after 11, then we can start.
Okay, thanks for the consideration. So hopefully by 10 past 12 past 11 we'll start. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Sure, we are doing well. Apologies for starting a little bit behind schedule. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
I can hear you.
Great. So this is the WAiC network. If you are joining us for the first time, you are most welcome. At WAiC, we provide mentoring, collaboration, and requisite skills for women and postgraduate students as they navigate through the academic career and their research career. So at WAiC, we have had several insightful webinars since this initiative started. And today, I believe we'll be having another great time. The title of today's webinar is Gamification and its application in the built environment. And we have today an amazing personality who will speak to us about this topic. I would like to describe our guest speaker as one of the world's brightest. And honestly, if I make no mistake or no, I'm not flattering him. He's one who I see as an emerging leader in research in the built environment. And I'm talking about Dr. Ayodeji, of the Department of Quantity Surveying, Federal University of Technology, Akure, Ondo State, Nigeria. At the appropriate time, we will learn more about our guest speaker from his biography. But we'd like to say, sir, that we are grateful and thankful for obliging us and coming to share out of your wealth of experience. And we'd also like to quickly say that we are very proud of your strides. When we see the things that you do, when we see the outcome of your research, when we look at your students, we can only say that we are inspired to do more and to become the more that we can be. We also have, we are supposed to have Dr. Simon Ofori take the welcome. Is also another great academic as well, but it seems he will join us much later. He will take his welcome much later or his remark much later. So I would like to, at this note, welcome every one of us and ask us to relax and have listen to the lecture, make contributions, and ask questions when we need clarifications. So welcome again. Thank you. So at this time, we will take the biography of our guest lecturer.
Dr. Ayodeji Emmanuel Oke is an author and lecturer with several years of teaching and research involvement in higher institutions of learning across the world. He founded the research group on sustainable infrastructure management, PLUS, and is currently the leader of the team. He has over 350 publications, including 9 books in the area of sustainable infrastructure management, SIM, with focus on sustainable development, digital construction, quantity surveying, value management, and other multidisciplinary research areas. He has led various research teams and is currently rated Y2 by National Research Foundation of South Africa. He is the winner of the Research Excellence Award of BIM Africa Innovation Awards 2023 as exceptional individual with research work in deployment of innovative technologies and processes towards driving the building and infrastructure industry's transformation. He is also the recipient of 2023 Intra-Africa Academy Mobility Scheme of the European Union under the Strengthening and Promoting Regional Engineering Education in Africa, SPREE. He was recognized as the best lecturer in Federal University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria, for the year 2021. He is a member of the Department of Quantity Surveying and an associate director at the Center for Research and Development, CERAD, of the institution. He is also a research associate at University of Johannesburg, South Africa, and an academic fellow at University Sains, Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Doc, you have the floor, please.
Okay, good day, everyone. Thank you for having me here. While I try to share my screen, I want to sincerely appreciate. I believe everyone can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. So I want to sincerely appreciate the board of directors and the organizer of this particular webinar series for granting me what to come around once again to share from our little knowledge of what we have been doing with us at this point in time. I want to appreciate everyone that is involved in promoting this particular body. I've attended some of the presentations, the webinar series, and I must say that they have been insightful. I've actually learned a lot as far as what we are doing is concerned. So today, I try to share my screen. Okay. Okay. So today, we'll be looking at okay, yeah. So I believe we can all see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. So today we are looking at gamification and the built environment. And I'm sure for so many people, when you hear the word gamification, there are so many things that come to our mind. What we want to do today is just to look at what gamification is all about and how is it applicable to us, especially in the architecture, engineering, construction, and operation industry, where we produce almost everything needed for other industry. So as an outline, we're going to go through a general introduction to what gamification is, or general issues that relate to information technology. We want to see what gamification is, the strategies, as well as the concept of gamification, then the areas of application of gamification, before we now streamline our discussion to the built environment. Then we also looked at what has been done so far. We also looked at future studies. Then we'll try and conclude. Yeah, so by way of general introduction, we know that in the world we live in, is either we leave things to chance or we change as things changes around us. Over time, for us in the construction industry, discovered that in most time we actually leave things to chance. And that has discovered that in most of our construction industry, we still experience serious challenges. If you check researches we have been doing in the past years, especially when it comes to issue of time and cost of projects, especially in developing countries like Nigeria, the study continues and there are so many findings and so many recommendations, but yet projects are still going through a lot of time and cost overrun because we leave things to chance in most cases. But the fact remains that if things are going to improve around us, then we must change. Change is the only thing that we must do around us. And of course, the change we are talking about has to do with what has been happening over the years. We have gone through the first revolution, we have gone through the other revolutions, and now we are preparing for the fifth industrial revolution. That's what we refer to as the Industry 5.0. So looking at what has been happening from the beginning, of course, we started from the Stone Age before we came to the first revolution where mechanization, water, power, and the rest were introduced. Then we came to the second industrial revolution where we had a mass production and then electricity was introduced. Then we have the third revolution, which has to do with computer as well as the automation came in. Then the fourth revolution, which we are in, has to do with we call it digital age. That's like an advancement of the internet age, which is like the third revolution that makes the world a global village. But of course, we're already preparing for the fifth revolution, which has to do with mass customization. Of course, I meant to say that we have to do our center around customers, where we want to make sure the customer satisfied. Customer satisfaction will be like the major measure of project success. But of course, as we are preparing for the fifth revolution, let's still limit ourselves to the fourth revolution that we have, and let's see what we actually need to do in order to strengthen our profession and what we do as individuals in the construction industry. For the technologies that are available to us, there are lots and lots and lots of them. Some of them are not entirely new, but of course, you know that the fact remains everybody is trying to do something new. And that is why we call it research. That's why we call it innovation, invention. People just want to come out with something that has not been existing. And that is one of the attributes of a human being. So over the years, we have talked about a lot of technologies, start from 3D printing. Actually, what I've done is just to arrange in alphabetical order. So it doesn't mean that 3D printing came first. No, there's many technologies that we'll be talking about. But I know that for some of us, we refer to all of this as AI, artificial intelligence. Some refer to it as the IT generally, that's information technology. Some just call it digital technology. Some call them digital too. I think anyhow we looked at it, we are all correct. But I prefer to just call them digital technology because AI is just like an aspect from my perspective anyway. So looking at technologies available to us, there are so many of them. We've seen people using drone. We have seen people talking about robotics, automation, and the rest of them. In fact, metaverse, a technology that one will never expect will be so useful to us, is becoming a key aspect of our life. People want to see things that is happening in on real world. We are trying to bring into the real world. Can we actually make these things also happen in our world? So people are going to a lot of technologies. But as far as that discussion is concerned today, we want to center more on gamification, and they want to be looking at what gamification is all about. Why do we need it? And in the industry, how and where can we actually apply this particular tool? So starting with what gamification is, which is like the first aspect of our discussion. So we asked, what is gamification? It actually has several meanings and several definitions, but no matter the way we look at it, it's just all about application of elements of game playing to other areas of activity, which is like the non-gaming activity. So what gamification is all about is when we apply things that has to do with games, or that has to do with gaming theory or gaming aspects into aspects that are not actually game related, and we'll try to see how the principle of gaming or gamification can be applied in such an area. So it can be as an online marketing technique, maybe to encourage engagement with a product or a service. So most importantly, we looked at application of game elements and game thinking in a non-game environment. It's more or less like the simplest definition of gamification that we see around. Application of game elements and game thinking in a non-game environment. That means there are like three keywords or key elements or key things that we need to look at under gamification. One is the game elements. What are these game elements? The second one is the game thinking. That means it's not just about talking about game elements like points, like batch and the rest, but also that means if anybody is applying this particular principle, I must also be thinking like as if I'm playing a game. So that means the environment must be designed in such a way that anybody using the application or the software should see it like he's playing a game and not really doing a serious business. And of course, we say in a non-game environment. So that means gamification is not applied in games, but in non-game environment. And of course, I know you agree with me that construction is a non-game environment. Architecture, engineering, operation industry, we find ourselves. We are not there to play games. Okay, we are not playing Nintendo and the rest of them or chess. We're actually doing serious business. So, and that is where gamification is more applicable. It's about application of game elements in a non-game environment. So unlike serious games, gamification does not refer to fully fledged games. So it's not actually a fully fledged game where we have to compete that much. Of course, we compete there, but I'm sure we understand what we mean by when we talk about serious games. That means the real game itself. Gamification does not refer to fully fledged game, but simply it has to do with the use of game designs elements that are peculiar to games. So we use elements of games, things that are peculiar to games. We use it in other aspects that are not related to game. So looking at gamification strategies, there are a lot of strategies of gamification. As we can see in the slide, one of them is the issue of learning. When we talk about gamification, one of the things we must look at and we must consider is the aspect of learning and must be user engagement. It's not just about the fact that I've designed a software and then you must just use it as it is. No, there must be engagement of users. Then we talked about motivation. It has to lead to motivation. I must be willing to do, I must be willing to go into more of those things. Like in games, for those of us that play maybe Sudoku or the rest of them, You have different levels. If there is nothing motivating you to go to another level, once you finish a level, then just let it be. So also in gamification, as it applies to us in the industry, there must be motivation. Then there must be challenges. It can't just come so free. Not everybody can just get there, play it, and just start scoring points. So there must be challenges, just like any other games. Then there must be reward. If I'm able to scale a particular height, in some games they will give you coins. In some games you will see badges. In some games you will get points and all of that. So there must be reward. And also there must be achievement at the end. So if I'm able to, maybe if I'm able to scale 10 hurdles, then maybe I've moved to like step 1. If I'm only able to scale, to scale 9 hurdles, I've not moved to step 1. In all of that, there must be reward and there must be achievement. These are just like the strategies and the basic principles of gamification. Then we move to the next one, which has to do with the concept of gamification. Unlike the strategies, the concept has to do with the basic item or the basic elements that must be present before we talk about gamification. It's related to the strategies anyway. But looking at the first one, there must be a goal, there must be a target. Gamification is not just designed like in some games where there is no target. You are just playing it for fun. But in this case, we are talking about a goal. There must be a direction. There must be something I want to achieve at the end of the day. And of course, as I'm playing the game, I should learn as well. Like in any other game, as you are playing the game, over time, by the time you want to play the game again, there are some things you must have understood about the game. So it also must actually encourage learning. They must be able to promote my skills and the skills of whoever is actually using the concept or using the application, the software, the environment where gamification is taking place. Then there must be achievement. There must be something that will motivate me. That's like achievement. Saying that if I'm able to do this after 1 or 2 days or after a particular period of time, I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to be able to do this and the rest. So there must be achievement. And of course, there must be challenges, like any other game. You see others. There must be a means to check with what others are doing. But that will also challenge me. Like, okay, I need to do more. If this person can do this within this period, then that means I can also do this within this particular period. So there must be challenges associated with it. Then there must be reward. At the end, there must be something to actually get. There must be competition. We compete with other people. It can be within a particular local environment. It can be nationally. It can be internationally. There must be competition. Then user engagement, like we were talking about that aspect in the strategies. There must be need to actually engage users. So it's not a one-way traffic. Users should be able to make some modification and make some changes where necessary. So when it comes to gamification application generally, there have been lots and lots of application of this gamification in our day-to-day activities. It has been applied in education. In fact, that's like where it's mostly applied currently, where we use it for teaching, training, for research, especially for children in primary school. When games that will actually help their IQ, games that will build them. If you check for most children in their crèche, what they do, they will give them cards, give them all those blocks to actually put together. They are playing games. They are playing games for, the way they see it. But to their teachers and the people that designed that, they're actually trying to build them up. So that's an aspect of gamification. Then in manufacturing, it has been used so many ways in manufacturing, like manufacturing of vehicles, of cars. You can just be playing game, and before you actually design a new set of car. We are trying to look at the body of a car, how will it look like at the end, That's gamification can come in manufacturing. Then also in healthcare, it has been used in so many ways. Instead of doctors sitting a patient down and start asking him or her questions that has to do with his or her health over the years, it can just be like playing the games. But before you know it, you can measure what's actually happening to that particular client. It can be the issue of the brain, maybe issue of the bone issue, maybe the hand is shaking, all of that. You can get to know why such a patient is actually playing a game, so to speak. In the banking sector, of course, there are a lot of application in the agriculture area. Gamification has been applied. Then in marketing, when you want to market things, especially to children and to people that actually like things that so around them, then gamification comes in. In employee engagement, you want to check which employee we actually do most when it comes to that particular aspect. Then gamification also comes in. Then in sports, in fact, gamification has been applied in sports over the years. For instance, for people that love football, football, especially if you are looking at league or even a cup competition, Especially for league, it's about points. So if you win a match, you get 3 points. If you play a draw, then you get 1 point. That's the form of gamification, because you are competing for 3 points. Except you want to compete for 0 points, then what's the point of competing? And that's like gamification as far as a sport, and so many other sports as well. Sometimes if you're able to swim well, if you check some of these to Taekwondo and the rest, they actually apply the principle of gamification in that particular area of sports. So teachers employ it on students to engage them better and raise their interest in academic activities. Okay, for this teaching and learning, most of the platforms that are being used currently, 3 of them, we have the TV miles, we have the U-Boot, and the class badges. Okay, that's for teaching. I just want to come from that perspective, but that's like the most popular area of application of gamification as far as we know. Then for Bye Mouse, it's actually a reward program which is offered through an internet platform. If you go online and you check for it, you can actually see it. And these allow schools and colleges to establish a learning circle. And this actually empowers not just the teachers, but also engages students and keeps parents informed about their children development. You can see the 4 major stakeholders in education are involved here. Who are the 4 major stakeholders? You have the administrators that actually design it. Then we have the teachers that actually teaches the students. We have the students themselves. Then we also have the parents. So the parents are not kept out of the whole circle. So the 4 major stakeholders are involved. So you know how your children are improving in school. You know the area that it needs to improve and all of that. Then they also talked about U-Boot as well as the class badges. These are applications, gamification applications that are concerned with teaching and learning. Then of course, also in sports, I was talking about the issue of points. In championship, like Premier League now, it's actually about points that determines who wins the league. Okay, by computing the points of the teams in that league, then ranking and established to concurrently reflect the points accrued. And of course, this is done over the season, right from the first game. Like for the English Premiership, I talked about 38 games, up to the 38th game. That's why you see some people, they can still win the league on the 38th league match. It has to do with points accruing. Also, if you check for us in the academies, when you talk about CGPA, it's about points accruing as well. It's about students accruing scores. You convert, for instance, in my school, if you score between 70 and maybe 100, it's 5 points. Between 60 and this is 4 points and all of that. So that means at the end, when you're talking about grade point average, it's about all those points coming together. A student will tell you, I have a GPA of this. Then at the end, they can be saying, I have a CGPA of this. It's actually about game, because a student wants to improve the CGPA, knows that he actually needs to improve not just the learning and teaching, he just has to improve his score one way or the other. So let's now come to the construction industry. Now, we know that for us in the architecture, engineering, construction, and the operation industry, that's like, in short, we call it the eco industry, or we just call it the construction industry, bringing the 4 major aspects together. We know that our work is actually complex, and not just in terms of what we do, but also in terms of the human resources. It requires enormous human resources, and these human resources come from different perspectives, depending on the kind of project and depending on the nature of the project. In fact, depending on the procurement that we're actually employing at that point in time. Now that most people are interested in turnkey projects, where the whole thing is complete, where, like you talked about, apartment building, where I'm just working with my clothes, and then when I'm done too, I work out with my clothes. Everything I need is in that place. That means in such a construction, you not only need the architects, the builders, the engineers, and you're also going to need interior decorators. You are going to need people that's going to fix the curtains, people that will monitor the painting, people that will fix the gas cookers. Everything just have to be there. The food they will eat, and the supply. For some, you supply their food every day, and that is part of the construction. That is part of the whole thing. So for such, there's going to be a requirement of enormous human resources for such a project to be successful. So for us to improve performance of labor, we are trying gamification can come in there. We also know that the industry is often regarded as a slow adopter of technology. When it comes to accepting and adopting technology, as well as the innovativeness, we are always latecomers. And I was talking about the issue of chance and change at the beginning, because in most cases, we want to leave our stuff to chance and see how things pan. That is why we keep doing the same thing the same way. And of course, you know that we can't keep doing the same thing the same way. and expect a different result. That is not possible. Maybe that is why we have not been seeing expected results in our industry. So when we integrate gamification into our activities and processes, this can actually lead to a positive cultural change and an improved outlook of the sector. Now, I want to ask each and every one of us a question. If you get to a place, maybe a building of like 3-story building, or let's just say 2-story building, okay? And before you is a stair and an elevator, which one will you go for? I know for most of us, we prefer to go for elevator. Why? Because we don't want to stress ourselves, except for those that want to do exercise, but they will tell you, I don't need exercise at that point in time. We are always in a rush. We always want to move. We always want to get where we are going on time. And we like, easy life. Everyone just wants things, very easy around him. So if I see a stair, an elevator placed side by side, of course, I will also go for elevator so that I can get to where I'm going on time. But may I show us this picture? This is also a stair and also an elevator. But at this stair, at the end, I actually included a video of this particular construction. For the stairs on the left-hand side, it's actually a piano stairs. So that means as you are climbing the stairs, you're actually playing the piano. You are making sound with your leg, and then you are making melodies, which is going to be so sweet, especially for individuals that like music. As I'm pressing the steps, that means I'm actually doing two things at the same time. I'm climbing the stairs at the same time. I'm also playing keys. I'm making sounds to people, and of course, people around me are going to enjoy the sound. So I want to go back to the question and ask it in another way. Which one will you go for? A piano stairs or an ordinary elevator? I'm sure for some of us, we will have changed our mind on this. Even if you actually wanted to go for elevator before, but seeing this, I'm sure you want to go for piano stairs. And of course, the study was done on that. I discovered that when the piano stairs was installed, it led to about 66% increase on people deciding to use the stairs than using the elevator. And this is just a typical gamification application. This is like in the simplest form. This is like applying a game element or game theory in a non-game activity. Climbing a stair is a non-game activity. Constructing a stair is a non-game activity. For the architect that designed this, it's a non-game activity, but we're actually turning it to a game activity. So anybody climbing it, they are not actually seeing the stairs. They're actually seeing, the piano, the key, they actually want to press in order to get to where they are going. Okay, so this gives us an idea of what gamification is and how we can bring it into the construction industry. And so now I want to go into something we have done from this side. In 2021, we did a research on application of gamification in the construction industry. Of course, we center our research more on Lagos State, Nigeria. And I just want to share some of our findings with us so that we also looked at the future areas or future things that we can do as far as gamification is concerned. So far, we have 3 publications from what we have done. The first one talks about the awareness of gamification among professionals or stakeholders in the construction industry. Actually, the study focused more on construction professionals. So we discovered that there are so many game elements that are applicable to the construction industry. Almost all are applicable. One of them is the progression. And these are game elements that tend to show advancement in the process, which include levels, leaderboards, progress bar, and challenges. Discovered that this is actually applicable to us in construction as well. Then we also discovered that game players, and who are the game players? Every one of us, the teachers, the architects, the professionals, the people on site, all of us, people actually get satisfaction from level accomplishments because we post all of this to them. So when you achieve a level, for instance, that when a builder just finished maybe a bricklayer just finished maybe casting the ground floor, there's this level of accomplishment that yes, at least you have accomplished this particular level. Let's move to the next one. Then they also get satisfaction from skill development when they're able to add more skills to themselves, and they also enjoy the same type of recognition. Then we have the progress bars. For instance, this involves tracking and displaying a player's progress through the use of graphical representation, where we can see, graphically that this is what I have achieved so far. We have the leaderboards or leaderboards, which are like electronic board, which are used to display the ranking of users in the community environment, but this is also applicable to us. We have the challenge and leverage challenges, which actually leverage the ability to provide users an opportunity to display their accomplishments. And this like a trophy shelf, you know, that means I can display maybe like I receive award as the best site worker of the year, you know, that will actually motivate me to do more. And if I have a shelf to actually display all of this, and every one of us can display one thing or the other that we have achieved, discover that this one also aid, you know, their accomplishment. Then we talked about trophies, badges, or medals, which are physical acknowledgements that users can actually bring in. The other element we discover that is more applicable to us is the aspect of rewards, which can be based on completing number of actions or distributed at set intervals. So when somebody has committed a set of action, you know, it's actually a game element that's applicable to us in the industry. Then rewards, which also provide motivation and recognition for time, for effort, and for skill. And of course, they include all of that. Points, sometimes you get certificates, you get bonuses, collectibles, so that all of this actually motivates people to do more. Then a common element in gaming is the use of timers and countdown clocks, which forestall a sense of urgency in the game. So it's not just about it's not just like something that is open all year round. No, you also want to use the issue of timer. For instance, a bricklayer on site, you want to time how many hours or how many minutes does it take to like fix 10 blocks. Okay, can there be any improvement? Can something be done to improve that? What can be done to, you know, make him maybe do 12 in that particular number of time, or maybe in a day? You know, we are meant to understand that ideally they should be between 100 and 120. Can they do more than that? What would they require for them to do more than that? So we also need timer, which is also used as a schedule of event that organizes how a series of tasks is to be done. Then we also have avatar, which is one of the game elements. Okay, then we looked at the benefits of this gamification. At this point, it's more of a potential benefit, I must confess, because by the time we look at what we are doing correctly, yes, we have been applying some aspect of gaming, but not gamification as it is. Gamification is actually an environment. It's not just that we are doing a part. It has to be a complete activity before we refer to it as a gamification. So we look at the potential benefits, and from what we have seen, discovered that there are actually like 4 major categories of benefits attached to gamification. So for us in the industry, it's actually going to help us more in safety and quality. Looking at that table, discover that safety and quality is the most important aspect for us in the construction industry. So it's going to help in safety training, equipment operation, quality control, and all of that. And that, from the study, we up to 50% of the whole benefit. Gamification will help in general project management, and this has to do with time management, you know, project planning, cost management, and these are the major issues we have as far as construction industry is concerned. Then also discover that gamification will help in workforce development, you know, talking about training and development, employee engagement, you know, skill development, and all of that. Is the gamification will be key in workforce development. Then lastly, for that, gamification will also be key innovation and efficiency. You know, we want to design, want to bring in new innovation into industry. In the design of the 3-bedroom, can't you have the sitting room placed in another way or in another direction? If it's at the middle of the house, what will happen? You know, all of those things. We saw that gamification will also bring about innovation and efficiency, which is also going to help in you know, tax management as well as material management. Now, we will not just talk about gamification without looking at the potential challenges. One of the things we looked at as far as the study is concerned are the potential challenges to the application of gamification, you know, for sustainable construction, for the as far as the industry is concerned. So we noted a lot of challenges, and of course, I know that even for us at this stage, before looking at this slide, if I ask us, I know there are so many challenges, even to digitalization generally. There are so many challenges. So for us and from the study, we're able to come up with about 5 major challenges. And the first one has to do with organizational challenges. Of course, the first point under that is, do we have budget for that? Who's going to design it? Where's the money? A client that is interested in completing the project within a few, you know, with the lowest amount possible. We are not talking about design and environment for the workers and the rest, or for a contractor that is looking on how to get as much profit as possible. They are saying you want to design a gamification environment for the workers in order to improve them. Of course, they will tell you they are not ready to spend extra money. So a lack of budgeting for innovation is actually one of the major issues, and that comes under organizational challenges. We also have the fact that we have a lot of fragmented construction process. Our construction process, is not sequential. In most cases, they are fragmented, and people are not ready to change. Remember, at the point of introduction, that was what we started with. That for us in the industry, we leave things mostly to chance than to change. So that comes in. Then we talked about complicated administrative process for innovation. That's another issue. Then the senior management, are they actually ready to support? In fact, IT generally, people just want to keep doing the same thing the same way. So when it comes to support for innovation, that's actually a challenge. Then do you have digital transformation strategy? Okay, I want to digitalize our environment, our process, our construction. Do you have what it takes to actually do that? And of course, the second one has to do technical related challenges. And those ones talked about lack of technical infrastructure. Do we have those infrastructure to actually carry out all of these things? Inaccurate evaluation of training performance. Do we even evaluate the performance of the trainee at all? When we evaluate them, what happened afterwards? Where are there rewards? These are some of the challenges. Then the process of construction, are they clear? Do they know what to do next? Or they have to wait for an authority decision from a higher authority? I mean, when I'm done with this aspect of work, I have to wait until maybe my foreman or somebody can like, okay, so this is the next thing we are doing. That's actually a challenge. Then when we talk about limited internet connectivity, that's actually a serious issue. On site, if it's a new site where there are no even electricity, where there is nothing happening, this can actually be a challenging aspect. Then we talk about economic challenge that has to do with the cost of technology, lack of government support and what about data? By the time we start using all of this technology, one thing we should know is that it has to do with a lot of data. So am I data secure? Okay, so we talked about lack of privacy of users and all of that. Then we have human-related challenges as well. And that one has to do with lack of capacity and expertise, individual differences, and the rest of them. So these are just the summary of the challenges. Not that nothing has been done as far as gamification in the construction industry is concerned. There are existing studies or existing work. In 2021, this particular author explored the application of gamification in the lean construction training. And when we talk about lean construction, that has to do with like a waste reduction. We want to maximize profit, maximize materials, maximize everything that we use in construction. And of course, some of the game design element that was used during the training. We talked about the challenges, cooperation. So you get points for all of this. What is the role? What is it? What is the performance level? What is the time pressure? If you do it this way, what will happen? If you change the method, what will happen? That's actually been, and this actually helps to improve motivation of employees to adopt lean construction methods as far as the study is concerned. Then the concept was also adopted to enhance health and safety in the construction industry in 2012. And there's some of the game design that was used were points, they use rewards, progression, feedback, these are game elements that are being used for non-game gaming activity. So looking at it in the industry, what are the future applications? The application of points for completing tasks can actually be a future application. When an employee, maybe a bricklayer, completed a task at the record time, can he be given a point? Can that be rewarding of employee for the timely delivery of project task? The creation of healthy competition between employees by attaching more points for faster work delivery. These are things that can be introduced into construction, especially for contractors that have workers on site. You can start asking, okay, if you finish this work within this particular period, you get this number of points. If you finish this work within a particular period, you get this number of points. And the points can be held together. And so many rewards can actually come after that. Then it can also help to improve safety standards within the industry. For example, construction company may choose to offer bonus points to employees who complete tasks with no accident suffered. I'm sure if this is in place, every of the employee will be more careful. They want to ensure that they go through all the necessary health and safety requirements, because they know that at the end, if they can complete that particular task without any injury, without any accident, without any suffering as far as our work is concerned, they are going to get a point. So that can actually motivate them to consider health and safety. even in their course of construction. So this decision will encourage employees to pay attention to safety measures with increased attention, and there's an extra incentive to do so. So they want to pay attention to safety measures because now they know that if they can actually prevent accidents, then there are incentives attached to it. Also, it can be used to prompt employees to embark professional certifications in construction safety, and not just construction safety, generally in other aspects as well. These days, quite that people ask, what is my motivation for becoming a professional member of my body? You know, if there is nothing that will come out of it, then why am I doing it? But a firm can decide that, okay, anyone that gets professional certification is going to get additional points, is going to get additional reward. You know, that's a gaming activity. For example, employee can be given extra points. I'm actually looking at it from points of view perspective now. Employee can be given extra points for signing up for a course on mechanical and electrical measurement. One of the issues they are having when it comes to measurement of building works is that most quantity surveyors don't know how to measure mechanical and electrical works. So that means a company can decide to give extra points for an individual that decide to go for a course on learning about M&E measurement. And by the time such a person comes back, he's able to measure M&E aspect of buildings. Such a person can be given a point. Then people are not also that interested in heavy engineering works. For most quantity surveyors, they are more at home with building works. They just do the building, you know, some can even estimate and take off for building works, even in their dream. When it comes to M&E, when it comes to heavy engineering works, we find little or no quantity surveyors in that aspect. So a company, a QSM can decide to set it up like, okay, for anyone that would be interested in, you know, going for heavy engineering works as a QS, then it's going to get extra points. So it's not that if this is in place, the employee can actually enroll in courses that they may not have been keen to embark on initially. They may not have ever thought about it that they are going to embark in such a course or in such a training. But because there is something for them to benefit or to gain, then they can actually easily go into such a thing. Then can we also look at it from this perspective? Can we use gamification to obtain client's brief? You know, for architects, for engineers, one of the issues we have in the industry is how to understand what the client wants. And you can't be in demand of the client, especially if the client is not a construction expert. The client says, I just want this is the vision, this is the view that I have. I want it to be this way, but capturing it exactly as the client wants, the terms he needs to use and all of that may actually become difficult. Can we bring in principle of gamification to do this? Can the client be allowed to play like a game, a form of a game? And as he's playing the game, he's telling us exactly what he wants. He's designing his own building. You know, I want my sitting room to be here. I want this to be here. In terms of bridge, we want it to pass through this area and the rest. What are the architect's work will be reduced because the client will have actually, you know, designed whatever he wants by himself to the principle of gamification. Then, in evaluating contractors, we talked about pre-qualification. And I know for us in the industry, we have a lot of pre-qualification criteria, you know, past experience, previous knowledge, number of employee, registration with this and that. We have a lot of the criteria. Can we turn this into a game? Can contractors play a game and without us having to look too much into what they do? By playing a game, we know the one that is experienced. We know the one that has handled such a project in time past. We know the one that has the capacity. We know the one that has the, you know, the financial ability to actually carry out the work. So it can come in there. Then, can we use to determine professional competence? You want to engage an architect, an engineer, QS on the project, and you want to know if he or she can do such a project. It can be a firm, it can be an individual. So we can actually bring it in and okay, play a game. To them, they are playing a game, but of course, know that they are not just playing a game for fun. There is a reason why they are playing a game. From the questions, from the way they navigate through and all, you know, okay, this one has the experience, this one must have done something similar in this area. Then it's going to be the best fit as far as this is concerned. Then can we also use as competition among contractors? You know, can contractors compete? For instance, in most of the turnkey and BOT projects, like a build, operate, transfer, and the rest, in most of the cases, contractors are involved from the very beginning, like all these design and construct, design and build, and the rest. So in order to select the best contractors, can they compete? Can we, you know, design a kind of a game? I want a refinery, and that's all I want. Can they start competing based on that game? Okay, and as they are doing that, they are telling us, okay, it's been cited here based on the current situation in Nigeria. oil prices going up, affecting the price of dollar. It's better such a project is cited here, or it's better we go through this way. Can't we use modular construction method? Can we use, before you know it, you will see healthy competition among the contractors, because they know they're actually competing, in a gaming environment to achieve a particular goal. Then can we also use it in our industry to evaluate sustainability? A key aspect of anything we are doing in our world currently has to do with sustainability. Any professional, any construction activity that will not take sustainability into cognizance is not actually there yet. So can we also introduce a gaming environment, a gamification principle that will promote sustainability adoption, not just among contractors, but also among professionals, even among clients, even among workers on site, employees, we refer to as the laborers or labor on site. Can we actually design gamification for them to do all of this? So these are like future purpose or future usages of the gamification. I believe that we can actually explore one or two things in our process. So in conclusion, the insertion of game elements into non-game contests has become one of the innovative tools used by sectors across the globe. And this one is to motivate employees in performing repetitive tasks in a fun and relaxed environment. So it's why that gamification is not introduced to make the whole thing look unserious. Of course, it looks a bit unserious, but at the end, you're actually achieving a task. And of course, it's to ensure that employees achieve a task in a fun and relaxed environment, not in a place where they are forced to actually do things. And these are actually crept into the construction industry, with recent studies highlighting the need for game management in addressing key issues from what we have seen. We have issues of skill shortages, workforce shortages, health and safety issues, sustainability. When I was talking about the issue of the pre-qualification and the rest of them. The gamification can actually be a good tool to some of these problems. So I have these links for us. I have some of them from YouTube. I have other links that are useful for us even after now. And that brings us to the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening.
Wow, this is interesting. Thank you so much. Please, can we give our doctor, a round of applause, please? He has really done justice to the topic, gamification of the built sector. Thank you, Doctor. We appreciate your impactful presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to appreciate the participation of one of our intellectuals. So I would like to acknowledge our Professor Wellington Twala. He's on board with us. We appreciate you, sir. He is a research ground father to our speaker of the day. So we want to say thank you for joining in this webinar, sir. We appreciate your honor, the honor you've given to us. Thank you, sir. Also, as one of the participants, we have our own Dr. Simon Ofori. Dr. Ofori is not new to us. So we want to say thank you for coming. And we will also want to have your remarks immediately after this session. That is the pictures. We are going into the picture session. We want everyone to please put on your camera, your video, so that we can have the photo session. Please let your video be on. We love to see the beautiful and handsome faces on this webinar. Thank you. We need your video on, please. Most of the videos are still not on.
Please, Doctor,
kindly,
can you stop sharing, please?
okay, yes.
Okay, please. Can you stop sharing? Great.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Okay. Yes, please, let all of us put on our video, switch your video on. We still have a few, please. We want everyone to switch on your video. Let's see your beautiful faces. Let's see your handsome faces. Yes. Maybe we all say WAiC. By the time I count 3, please, let's say WAiC, because no matter how you say WAiC, by the time you finish saying WAiC, we're going to smile. Your teeth will come out. So please, we have a few people whose video, the camera on, kindly put it. So at the count of 3, we all say WAiC. So 1, 2, 3.
WAiC.
WAiC. Thank you. That's a good one.
Okay.
So thank you, everyone. We now go to Dr. Simon Ofori. We would love to hear from you. Let's have your remarks, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. Actually, I apologize for missing the time. I missed the time actually, so it was patients who had to remind me. So forgive me for that. Well, first of all, good afternoon and thank you for this opportunity. In recent times, you all know the term gamification has been making waves across various fields, which is actually revolutionizing the way we approach tasks, challenges, and even our daily lives. And as we have all learned today, we have been taking through how this concept can be applied specifically within the context of the built environment. And for those of us who may be new to this concept, now we have been introduced to it. And I would like to say gamification actually involves integrating elements of game design mechanics into non-game context to motivate and engage individuals in achieving desired outcomes. By tapping into the inherent human desires for mastery, autonomy, and purpose, gamification has proven to be a powerful tool for fostering engagement, learning, and creativity. The resource person, Dr. Oke, actually delved into how gamification strategies can be employed to enhance participation in the built environment, driving innovation, sustainability, and overall user satisfaction. I believe this webinar has delivered actionable knowledge, inspiring all of us to reconsider the potential of gamification as a catalyst for positive change in the built environment. Whether you're an architect, urban planner, designer, or simply someone with a keen interest in this topic, we hope you are leaving this session feeling empowered and brimming with new ideas. And I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizers of this webinar, Women Academics in Construction. They've been doing so much, so wonderful every time they give us the opportunity to learn. Especially, a special thank you to Madam Patient for a good work done. And most especially the resource person, Dr. Oke, for doing justice to this topic. Dr. Oke is actually like a brother. We all had the same father, and our grandfather is Professor Twala. And he's actually someone I admire from afar. Once again, I extend a heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you for attending this webinar. Your presence here today demonstrates your commitment to exploring innovative solutions and your dedication to improving the built environment for the benefit of all of us. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Amente P. Thank you for your remark, and I must also apologize for the hitches that occurred between personally between both of us as a result of our time difference challenge. That was why he was not able to. It was not as if he forgot. It was a time difference miscommunication between us. But thank you so much, Doc. We appreciate your remark. Thank you so much. So we'll quickly move on to questions. We'll have Builder Olufumilayo Osanbinu. Sorry, please, if I didn't pronounce it very well. So, Ma, we can have you now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me, please?
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ma. Okay, so my question goes thus. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for such an interesting topic. Thank you for giving it to us in-depthly. Thank you for the explanation and everything. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Ayodeji. God bless you, sir. So I have 3 questions outlined here from how you've said. And my first question goes thus. How can we measure and optimize the potential sustainability benefits of incorporating this gamification into urban planning and design processes? That's my first question. I'd like to post the question on the group so everybody can run along. Okay. So should I ask the question one by one, or should I post the 3 questions at once? That's my first question, sir, and Max.
Okay, I think you can go ahead and ask the questions, all the questions, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Then my second question goes thus. How does gamification contribute to improve?
Sorry, you're muted, ma'am.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'll also put on the chat now so you can easily pick it from there.
Okay, I didn't get the second one, ma'am.
The question 1 is, how does gamification contribute to improving safety practices and risk management process in construction projects?
Okay, you can go ahead now.
Then my number. Sorry, a call came in, so I had to cut it off. My number 3 question is, what and how do you think a general contractor, like a general contractor for a big project, how do you think the contractor can motivate a subcontractor to key into gamification model that must have been mapped out for a large project? Since the performance and delivery time of that nominated contractor would definitely impact on the general contractor without this resulting in conflict between both of them. That's my number 3 question, sir. Let me also post that on the group chat. Thank you.
Okay.
Those
yes,
are my
thank you.
3 questions.
Okay, yes, I can also see them on the group chat. Thank you very much, ma'am. Yes,
You're
for
welcome.
the first question, I'm optimizing potential sustainability benefits, gamification for urban planning and design process. One of the things when you first posed the question, I currently live in an estate, and that estate, if I was part of the planning and design, I wouldn't want the estate to be designed in such a way. It was designed in such a way that the main road into the estate, in quotes, was useless except just for incoming vehicles. There were no buildings that can maximize the main road. So the contractor could not complete the other road in the estate because when you want to construct an estate, said that the main road should be like at the middle, and it should maximize it in terms of houses facing the main road. Okay, So I would say that, we are talking about the issue of applying game elements or gamification principles in urban planning and design. It can actually be done in such a way that while planning and designing, we can involve the stakeholder, the users. I'm talking about the clients. I'm talking about the people that will actually make use of that project. I know there are so many management procedures that actually bring in all of this. Aside from just the urban planner, aside from just people from Ministry of Works, aside from just the contractor, who are going to be the user of this project, can we also bring them in? Then we can design like an environment, an application, a gaming application to like, okay, how do you like your typical estate or typical of course estate to look like? And before you know it, like how many buildings you like to have in an estate, like how many families you like to have together in an estate, and by the time you look at people of like, maybe for instance, you want to like put lecturers together in an estate, different from you want to put teachers together in an estate, then we want to put bricklayers together in an estate. What they will want will differ. So that means we can actually organize an environment where the end users can also come in, like playing a game. Like, okay, I would have loved that 3-bedroom flat come first. Then let's 4-bedroom flats be at the back. Let duplex building be in the front. Let this one be, let there be drainage passing this way. No, the cable can be underground. We don't want cable up there, When all of this happen, that can actually help to enhance urban planning. And of course, now one of the key aspects of sustainability is actually user satisfaction. Because at the end, the user that will use it, if they are not satisfied, whatever we have designed, whatever we have done, it's actually in cost, it's actually a waste, because a measure of project success in our day is user satisfaction. So once the customer are not satisfied, in quotes, even if the project was delivered to time, to cost, quality, then we say that such a project has not been well delivered. Then for the second question, implication for health and safety. In fact, for us in construction, the study we discovered that it's actually more applicable to two major areas, and that is employee engagement and health and safety. Especially if you look at it from the angle of Africa, the Nigerian construction industry, when it comes to health and safety of construction, we seem to be lacking. We seem not to be doing well. Accidents happen on site. There is a video circulated, I think last week. Two roofers, 2 people were working on the roof and they were fighting on the roof. 2 people on the roof and fighting. Somebody was asking, how do we settle the fight? Who will go to the roof to settle their fight? You can imagine such a thing. So imagine if those people understand the concept of gamification and they are playing a game to show that who finishes first will get a point. You are supposed to be on the roof, nail the walls together, who finish, and of course you are supposed to do it well. If there is a point that will be awarded to you for finishing early, you will not be fighting up there, because that if I finish on time, there are other tasks and I know I'm going to get a point. There's going to be a reward attached to that particular point. One of the things I also talked about in my presentation is the fact that if a point is attached to any worker, for instance, I'm a bricklayer, and I've been told that during my course of construction, maybe for the next 5 days, if there are no accidents, I'm going to get extra amount of money or extra points or something. I'll be more careful. I want to do my work. So even if all my workmen or my laborers are trying to misbehave, because of the concept, because of the idea, because of the future benefits, I'm looking towards, then I wouldn't want some things to happen as far as such a project is concerned. So it can actually help to improve safety. As we now come to risk management, for everything we do in construction is actually risk management, starting from the point we take the client's brief. If the client's brief is not well taken, don't be surprised, you can be executing the wrong project for the client. So that means the client actually engages us to manage risk for him or her. And that is why I talked about, let's bring professionals together. Let the architect interpret the client's, the client's brief and put it in form of a drawing. If the drawing does not reflect the client's brief, then every other thing all of us are going to do is going to be useless, in quotes. So gamification can come in. Let's involve the client, the architect, even the contractor, depending on the kind of procurement method we are using anyway. So as the client is playing the game, the architect is also there to like support. Okay, so we'll put this one here. But there's a video I would have loved to share. It's like a TikTok video, where it's actually a mixed reality video where a client decide to like, he was changing the shape of his room, and as it's changing, he's seeing the 3D, 3D display. So if you move the wardrobe, you will see the 3D display. If you try to like shift the building, you will see the 3D display. As it's doing that, the architect is also guiding whatever he is doing. The engineer is also there to see that this is actually workable at the end. So it actually help in risk management of construction projects. Then the third question. Yes, I started by saying that when it comes to us issue of change, we are always not responsive. Nobody wants to change, especially when it comes to nominated subcontractor. If it's a subcontractor from the general contractor, now of course he has no choice than to obey the main contractor. But from a nominated subcontractor, that means first thing, the main contractor has to make subcontractor understand the whole process and what is happening. In fact, when it comes to technology generally, one of the issues we are having is that some people are willing to adopt, some are not ready, some are not ready, some still want to go through their usual traditional way of doing things. So the first thing is for the main contractors to have actually called a meeting. Let everyone on that project understand what the project is all about, understand what we want to achieve at the end. I will give us an example. The issue of sustainability rating. If the main contractor is after a rating, maybe for his project, I want this project to actually get a rating. Maybe I want it to be rated A, depending on the the rating two, is whether it's least or the rest. I want to be rated A or 70%. And the subcontractor doesn't understand what sustainability rating is. And is the one to actually, maybe is the one to install lifts, for example, but it doesn't understand the concept of sustainability. It doesn't understand that you want to make your building green. It doesn't understand that you want to make sure that the electricity that you'll be consuming is reduced in such a way that in all of those things, it will just go there and construct normally and do things as usual. So there's a need to first explain, let everyone on that project, every stakeholders on that project come to terms as far as what is on ground. The other thing we need to understand is this. When it comes to project delivery and performance, we place too much emphasis on time and on cost. Yes, it's fine. But looking at what is happening around us now, we know that projects are not that considered to be successful, even when they are delivered to time and to cost. In cases now, it's about sustainability. And of course, cost and time is part of sustainability principle. It's part of the things we use to measure sustainability. But a project can be delivered to time, it can be within cost, and may not be to satisfaction, may not be to the functionality the function is actually meant to do. But I'm sure if everybody understands this purpose and everybody is coming together to understand the purpose of the project, easily the general contractor should be able to convince the main contractor or the nominated contractor on what I want to do as far as the project is concerned. Thank you. Please, before I stop, I also want to appreciate Professor Tuala. Thank you very much, sir. You are still with us. And Dr. Simon too. Thank you very much too. I'm sure I've been able to address the 3 questions.
Yes, you have, sir. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for your questions, Madam Olufumilayo. And thank you, Dr. Oke, for your answers. So we'll move on to Builder Ibidayo Aliyu. I think she also has some questions.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Dr. Oke, thank you so much for your insightful and educative lecture. It was really very beautiful. Sincerely speaking, this is the first time I'm hearing about gamification. And I was really moved and I was carried away. From what I heard you say, gamification is like combining elements of game in a non-gaming environment and makes the work more interesting. Now, like you gave some examples about employing it in educating children in lower classes like primary school, kindergarten. I want to start from the basics. And like you ask children to arrange some more blocks, plastics, and from that's gamification. And through that, they learn a lot of things, that they build houses and all that. Now, how can we translate that into the environment in academics? Let me just be practical. Somebody who takes a course like construction technology, how do you introduce gamification into it? so that it will look as if the students are playing, but at the same time, they are learning something. And it makes the learning process very interesting. How do we bring it into, how do we bring it into play? How do we bring it into play? And another thing again, in designing this gaming aspect, I mean, bringing it into academics as an academic, how do you, are you going to bring it? Is it a collaborating work, like bringing it as somebody who is into computer science, so that you collaborate together? I want to really get, clarity about this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ma, and thank you for your comment as well. I really want to appreciate you. Yes, how do we bring in for undergraduate students? Okay, maybe let me share our experience. We did two things from our end. There's the other one we are trying to do. I think when it comes to gamification, there are two aspects from the question you have asked, Ma. There is the practical aspect, the one that people can see, like you're actually playing the game, like the one I showed the other time, the stairs, talking about the piano stairs as well as the other one. And there's another aspect of design and environment. Game is actually comes in two ways. It can be physical games like card and all of that. Those are physical games. There are also games that will play on the software, online game, like all this taekwondo and the rest of them. So it also comes in two ways as well. So for us in a construction built environment, for instance, I mentioned the issue of construction technology. One of the ways we play games around us is to actually make it practical. It was an example. There was a time we were doing something on sandbag houses. I don't know if you have heard about it, sandbag houses. Okay. Then there was a time also doing a practical on plastic waste reduction among our students. Building student, which has support technology, point surveying student, architecture student, estate management student, and the rest. So what we did was for them to go and look for plastic bottles. We now told them that as many bottles that you find, when you come back, if you're able to find 10 bottles, then you get this point. Be able to get 20 bottles, then we'll get this point. Be able to get this number of bottles, then you get this point. Okay. So it becomes like a game, although we are just playing. And the following week, people brought plastics, plastic bottles, But of course, what we wanted to do was to tell them that we can use the waste product around us to actually do something meaningful. So when they brought the plastic bottle, of course, they're able to buy sand. So the next thing is for them to be filling the bottles with sand. It looks like a child's play. How can I be filling bottles with sand? But by the time we started arranging them and we started turning them into walls, it became so much interesting. It's a pity that the building was, came down sometimes ago due to wind that happened around us. It became more interesting. You understand? So we actually be able to instill 2 or 3 things into them. Number one, waste management. Number two, the ability to build, from what we have around us. Then number three, when we see bricklayers doing all of that, they also learn how to do it now. And in fact, it helped them when they were doing their measurement of building works, because we did the building of blocks there. So it's easier to explain to them that walls are like this. When you are finding main guards, for us, it surveying. When you want to determine main guards, internal guards, external length, the size of the window. Like I know the window we did then was 1.2 meter. Okay, yes, so let's make this on 1.2 meter as well. Then they were playing game using physical elements. But over time, discovered that they've actually used it and they have benefited and learned 1 or 2 things. That's the physical aspect. The second aspect is the one I said we are still working on. Now, we are trying to design an environment. Our plan is to bring all the students in built environment together as far as our institution is concerned. Whereas it's going to be like all this BIM software or BIM environment, where the architects, instead of architect designing and bringing it to a QS and QS looking at it, as architect is designing, can we also be doing the costing, playing games on different drawings, so that instead of raising queries after the architect must have finished designing, can we start raising those queries? But we are playing game, we are not doing anything serious. So we are applying non-game activity into what we are doing, and we are applying gaming activity into what we are doing at the end, so that by the time the drawing is out, the QS will not be able to raise any concern because it was part of the drawing. The engineer too, sometimes the structural engineer will come and like, no, this building or this structure is not stable, it cannot stand. But because it's been part of the game, it was there and it was part of what we designed and the rest. That means when it comes to conflict, when it comes to queries, when it comes to issues regarding that, that's already out. So we can actually bring it out or bring it into way. That's from our practical experience, but I'm sure there are so many other ways we can actually bring in gamification. Then there's one thing we also do with our students. In 500 level, we always separate them into consulting and contracting. You understand? I mean, for QS, so that they can learn what we do in contracting, they also learn what we do in contracting. So what we are trying to do also is like design, an environment for them to interact. Although if I was added to the environment sometimes, again, you see the way our students, they chat a lot, they discuss a lot, they abuse themselves, load, this is what you can do, come and see what we have done. Like, so your group can do that, don't worry, tomorrow we'll bring something better. They are playing game, they are just playing, but before we know it, we're able to come up with a lot of alternative as far as the project we're looking at is concerned. Then lastly, among our master students, we're looking at this issue of the value management. It's one of the courses I'm teaching. So what we are doing under that is to see a case where we can introduce alternative materials, alternative concepts into building. That means a client can come with a 3-bedroom flat. By the time we now ask, why do you need a 3-bedroom flat? And he explains what he has in mind. We can go into value management, playing a game in form of playing games, and we start changing shape. Instead of this, can we use this? Instead of this, can this one come? Instead of that, before you know it, we are bringing alternative building for such a client using different alternative materials that are around us. And at the end, whereas in most cases, our alternative buildings are always very cheaper and they are more sustainable than the previous ones. So I believe that through this means, we can actually bring in concepts of sustainability and the concept of gamification into teaching and learning of a built environment students. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for your question, Builder Liu. And thank you, Dr. Oke, for your response. I don't know if we have any further questions. Are there other questions? Anyone has a comment or a question before we shut down? Okay, I think we have come full circle. Just to appreciate everyone that took out time to attend to this webinar. We want to specifically, especially appreciate our guest speaker, Dr. Ayodeji, who has done justice to this topic. He has enlightened us. He has made it practical for us to see how this can be applied, particularly in our teaching. And I believe research interest can spark up even from this. And then we can always reach him. We can always find a way of reaching him if we need further questions and clarifications. We also want to acknowledge the presence of Professor Twala, who is here with us. Thank you, Prof, for finding time to join us at our webinar today. We are grateful and we are thankful for your presence. And for every one of us who has made today possible, we thank those that have worked behind the scene, Mrs. Oluyemisi Awoni, Builder Liu, Mrs. Olufumilayo, everyone that has worked, and also Mrs. Olade. We thank you so much, and we wish you the very best in your endeavors. So we would have our next webinar again next month. We would send the topic of the webinar subsequently. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.